So I'm sure that you have gone through the ideal customer profile building in a B2B setting. Today we are going to discuss about the similar ideal customer profile if you are going to approach in a B2C setting in which business to customers you are serving your values and you are going to offer your business services. So for this, we again are going to have certain questions regarding your customers, their answers, their strategic mapping, and where you can utilize this information while developing and devising your business strategy. So let's have a look at the playbook. On this screen, we have certain questions regarding, again, the demographics. So what is the age range of your ideal customer? What is their gender? What is their marital status? Where do they live? And what is their annual income range? So these all things are describing the demographics of your ideal customer. Then comes psychographics. What values and beliefs are important to them? Again, this is not necessary for you to attempt or strive for each and every question and its answer. There could be a lot of things, there could be a lot of missing pieces within this ideal customer profiling in B2C setting as well. But we should try to attempt most of these things so that if we can have maximum information for this playbook, we will be in a much better position to address our customers' needs and the ways to access them. Again, in the psychographics part, we are talking about the values, their biggest fears or concerns, what actually motivates them to make a purchase, what type of hobbies or interests do they have, what type of behavioral traits they can have. For instance, what common frustrations do they experience with existing products and services in your industry. So if you are dealing with some software solutions and you are trying to sell it to some individual customers, what type of frustrations did they experience or they can experience while dealing with a software developer? Then, what inefficiencies in their daily routines does your product or service improve? There might be some sales issue with them, like they are not able to transform their leads into sales. So within these behavioral traits, we are going to note down what efficiencies in their daily routines does your product or service improve. For instance, they are struggling with their leads transforming into successful sales. So there could be a sales engine issue, lead generation issue. There could be some digital platform development issue in which they are struggling with that. And you can make an offer that because of my services, your website optimization will be good enough, your sales strategy will be more applicable in an efficient way. So in that case, you are just noting down all the frustrations or their inefficiencies within their business system. What emotional triggers make them abandon or purchase or switch with brands? What type of information do they look for before making a purchase decision? So there are different questions to assess their behavioral traits. Why do we need them? We will talk about it in a later section. But right now, we are just going to focus on what type of behavioral traits they are having so that we could get the answers and information to tune our sales and channelization strategy. So what brands do they follow and engage with? How do they prefer to communicate with brands? Either it's a social media or they personally talk to them on phone calls, or they are just making in-person interaction with their brands, or they are just communicating these things on social media or communities through different forums. Where do they shop most frequently? So this is one of the most interesting part in this sheet because this will help you out in deciding where you will have to make a placement of your service, where you are going to make sellable in front of your customers. Then comes their buying decision. So if previously they had certain services from different vendors within your domain, what type of negative experiences they got so far, and how did it influence their purchasing behavior. Then what consequences do they face if they don't find a solution to their problems? So they might be blocked to make a new decision of buying similar services what you are trying to offer. But because of that, what type of losses or damages are happening to their businesses? That's what we need to identify. How price sensitive is your target customer? This will actually define the affordability, the buying power of your customers so that you could tune the cost and price and your profit from your service for the customer. So what habits do they have when selecting and purchasing services that could impact their decision to choose yours? What challenges do they face that your service can solve? What objections they might have before purchasing, and what is their budget? Is your solution affordable to them? So this is somehow a repetition, but you will be having a different approach towards your ideal customer profile. So again, just like B2B, we are going to have certain answers of all these questions, and they will be helping us in deciding our own strategy. For instance, the very first question, A1, what is the age range of your ideal customer? Once you define it, you will be getting very much specific about it, that for certain ages, there are certain buying behaviors, there are certain personality traits, there are certain preferences in their genders, in their ages, in their social groups. So saying that 18 years to 65 years may not be a very good range for you to make a decision, because everyone will be dealing with you in a different way. If you get to know about their marital status, so this will give you some understanding that family dynamics can influence your messaging and your positioning, because they have a different requirement set, they have a different expected value from your services. So what is their annual income range? So this will help you in deciding your pricing strategy and affordability depending on your customers' buying power. So all these things are actually leading you towards certain answers and certain strategies in which you will be making a good strategic mapping on your business. For instance, the very first question what we talked about is the age range of your ideal customer. Actually, you are going to strategically map out the customer segmentation in your business model canvas. So let's move on to A7. What are their biggest fears or concerns? So this is what we call value proposition strategy, because once you have defined their pain point, that is going to help you out to drive your value proposition strategy to be pitched in your sales message to convince them that your service is really crucial and critical for them. Similarly, if we talk about A12, what emotional triggers make them abandon or purchase or switch brands? So this will not only get you a value proposition, but also the customer acquisition strategy, and accordingly designing your services for such customers to whom you are going to target. And if we jump to A15, that talks about what brands do they follow and engage with. So this is actually all about your competitive analysis. What other brands in your line of services offering to the same customers and how you are going to address them. So once you have answered all these questions in this column, you will be in a better position to make a strategic mapping of your business. Now, again, the question could be that from where I'm going to get the answers to all these questions. So remember, for certain things, you will have to interact with your customer to validate their needs, to identify their pain points, and then accordingly tune your message and your services. For rest of the questions, you will be getting some help from the secondary resources. For instance, for the very first question, and when we talk about what is the age range of your ideal customer, it goes from market research, Google Analytics, census data, Statista, or some other digital platforms. So this is going to help you for your research strategy, that you may not be able to ask everything from your customers. So you will have to collect certain types of information from different sources. And these all are well defined in this playbook against each type of question. What type of answers you will be expecting, what type of value these answers will be providing you in your business model, in which you will be discussing about the strategic mapping, and then how are you going to get the answers to all these questions actually. For instance, we are going to A8, in which you talk about what motivates them to make a purchase. So for each customer, there could be a different motivation. But when you are talking about in general, so you'll be talking to the customers, you will be interacting with them, and you will get to know what type of motivations are there to buy your services. So interaction with customers and competitor review analysis will help you out in answering this question. Again, when you talk about A10, which is all about the frustrations they are experiences with existing products and services. So once you talk to the customers, you get to know about their pain points which are still existing in the system, and they are an opportunity for you to transform such frustrations or others' weaknesses into your strengths and turn them into your value proposition, so that they could have a better decision to buy your services. Then let's have a look at A13. What type of information do they look for before making a purchase decision? So you interact with the customers, or you can also have a market research on Google Trends, Answer the Public, Quora, and you will see a lot of answers over there. And from there, you can also make a very good estimation that what type of information actually they look for before making a decision. For instance, if they are looking for a marketing agency service, what they will be looking for: credibility of the company, previous customers, testimonials, existing partnerships, your presence on certain digital platforms, your regular interaction with your customers, and so many other things. So once you have identified what type of information do they look for before purchasing a service, what you are offering, you'll be in a better position to tune yourself. You will be placing yourself at appropriate channels. You will be tuning your website or your social media platforms with the right message for what the customer is looking for. Then let's talk about A22. So what challenges do they face that your service can solve? So this is not only giving you a product market fit strategy and problem solution fit, but also giving you a right indication whether your service is going to help them or not. Because at that point of time, it is not necessary to stick around with your existing service. You can make a flexibility, and vice versa. You can also decide not to navigate from your core offerings. Instead of making adjustments in your current services, you can look for some other customers in the same range who are actually making a very good product market fit with your services. So this will also be derived through the interaction with customers, their pain point identification through competitor analysis, and that's how you will be strategically mapping out your entire ideal customer profile in a B2C setting. So we discussed these points in a very random way, but the crux is the same, that as much information as we can get about our ideal customers, we will be in a much better position how to identify them, where to find them, how to communicate a message to them, what type of message should be communicated, what type of emotional triggers we can use, what type of concerns, what they have, can be addressed while making a sales message to them. Now, the next question is, how to interact with the customers. So this is a very broad area and one needs to be very much literate about it, how to make an interaction and how to dig out the real pain points. For that, we have an exclusive session in a helping material while interacting with the customers, in what capacity, in what positioning, and what type of questions you can make. Everything will be discussed in that session. So regarding interviewing and interacting with your ideal customer is a different ball game. So that's what we will be discussing in the next session. So we hope you will be concluding your ideal customer profile in a B2B or a B2C setting, and how to talk to your customers will be discussed in another session. Take care. Bye-bye.